Welcome back, everyone, to the Queen of TV channel. Now, let's get some things first before we get into our intro. There will be cursing and profanity. If that's not your cup of tea, this channel is not for you. I would like to also welcome 2 new subscribers to the channel. We now have 14. We're growing little by little, but one day we'll get there. Now, our intro. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, the Queen herself, and you are the Prince and Princesses. You are a subscriber or you are a viewer. Either way, welcome. Today is a character video today where I give my feelings and opinions on the character of today's video. And today, we're going to start off with the villains. So this is a Zane video. This video will be titled Why I Have a Love-Hate Relationship with Zane. Now, what I mean by love-hate relationship is that, yes, there are some things that I love that Zane has tried to do or has done. But overall, I hate his character. Now, because I'm looking down, I have 6 things that make a character for me, whether that is a hero or a villain. So don't get it twisted, okay? I'm not that type of person that only likes heroes and hate villains. That is not me. I'm in the neutral spectrum. I like heroes and I like villains. You'll know that one day when we watch Game of Thrones. Because you'll see that there are some villains I actually like and support. So I have different emotions and feelings when it comes to characters. For Zane particularly, like with all the other characters we're going to talk about in these videos, I'm going to be looking at his character development, his personality, his stories outside of the characters, other characters being his father, Ricky, and Miriam. His behaviors, his relationships meaning his relationship with Ricky, his relationship with Miriam, and his relationship with his dad. And last but not least, does his clothing style and hairstyle reflect his character? Does it speak to the story itself? So let's jump right into it. So why do I have a love-hate relationship with Zane? Let's look at his character development. When we meet Zane, it's obvious that he is the bully of the show. And by the very end of season 1, he becomes an ally. And he's barely in season 2 to make out if his character has had any growth. So let's start from the very beginning. When we meet Zane, Zane is the whole reason why Cleo ended up drifting out into the ocean where Ricky had to save her. He even got his comeuppance when Ricky splashed him with a bunch of water. Now all this happened in episode 1. We see him again in the second episode of Pool Party, and he apparently is also the reason why Lewis finds out the mermaid's secret, because he decides, along with his friends, to throw Cleo into the pool itself. Zane is one of the main people that set the precedence of everything coming into motion. First, the girls becoming mermaids. Lewis found out the girls are mermaids. Him giving awareness to mermaids after Emma saves him. Him dating Ricky, which leads him into rebelling against his father, which leads his father to do illegal means to try to mine Mako Island, which then leads to the return of Dr. Denham, which then leads to the secret being exposed in season 1. He sets the catalyst for everything that has happened. And he's not the only one. So, in his character development, does he stop being a bully and does it actually change him? Does he redeem himself? Yes and no. Yes, because Zane is showing signs that he's growing by denying his father control over him. How he's a different person when he is with Ricky. And on top of that, he generally does care about Ricky and them getting hurt once he finds out they are mermaids and is willing to help them. But there's one problem. Zane continuously still does the same things he's done before. Even though he's dating Ricky, he tends to still be cruel towards the other group members. Their whole relationship is this big giant secret. And on top of this, the relationship only happens if he promises not to talk about mermaids and to let it go. They're not together because they generally want to be together. Obviously, yes, they like each other, but like to set a condition that the only way for them to truly be together is that he has to let go of the mermaid issue is a problem for me. That's not a good way to start a relationship, especially from Ricky's standpoint, because she's the one that asked for this. The only reason that she would even give Zane a chance if he lets go of the mermaid stuff. I understand that they love each other, and I understand that a lot of fans love and support the relationship, and they see this big growing connection between the two and wants them together, and was hurt when they broke up in season 3, but I just don't see it. I don't understand how the toxic dynamic is not being seen here. Zane and Ricky were brought together because of their difficult situations, not because they generally liked each other. Ricky felt sorry for Zane, yeah, in episode 10 when he got humiliated the way he was. But at the same time, Ricky had no right to be upset with Lewis because Lewis did not even know. Ricky didn't tell either one of them that she had to rescue Zane. And she actually talked to Lewis before he even put the film out there. So she kept her mouth shut, and the results were the results. It doesn't make it her fault, but also does not give her justification to get mad at someone for exposing information that they didn't know that was that damaging. Not to mention, Zane is suffering from severe daddy issues. He wants someone to validate him. He wants someone to show him love and compassion. And Ricky does that. She's filling a void of Zane feeling unloved. Not necessarily a void of where he wants to love somebody. And as for Ricky, her not having a mom and her living in a poor, unstable household, she clings to Zane because he's the first actual guy that genuinely liked her and he was normal. The mermaid stuff has been consuming her life and he was a fresh change. So of course she starts to deviate from the group and spends time with him and completely keeps the secret from her friends. Which apparently they're gaslit into thinking that they were incorrect for being upset about it and they have to apologize to her. Which just shows that their relationship has a negative effect. Because their relationship, it was fueling and even less than or more so, making Zane far more suspicious of them and asking even more questions. Ricky and Zane do break up at the end of season 1, and they break up amicably. You know, they both agree that they have to break up because he's going one way and she's going another way. So it seems like to me that after everything that happened, they can't make a compromise in their relationship. They can't fix it. They can't talk it out. Now that Ricky's no longer a mermaid, there's no reason for them to be together. What is truly tying them together? Love? If it was love, it would have been built on mutual love and understanding. The first time these two actually connected and kissed again, this time willingly and literally not under influence of the full moon, is when they were both sharing how awful their fathers were. They both clearly have father issues. They both do not feel validated and loved enough by their respective dads that it bonds them together. They are trauma bonding. They both are branded as mean, bullies, self-centered, overconfident, that they literally are judgmental. And no fan from H2O is not going to tell me that y'all were not on Ricky's case during season 2. Because you were. So there does not mean that what I'm saying is incorrect. You generally feel this way towards Ricky. You think She's not a person that gives people a chance. You think that she is a person who does not actually treats people the way they should be treated. And Zane is the same way. They are both not two opposites attracting. They are both the same person trying to date, and it makes the entire relationship toxic. Because not only does it affect their relationship, it affects their trust, it affects their loyalty to each other, it affects the friendship that Ricky has with her friends. So the show's attempt to give Zane a redemption arc, his redemption was little by little, but at the same time, they kept having him repeat the same mistakes until they decided to fully redeem him in the finale by having him save the girls. But at the same time, what else has he done that makes him redeemable? Stand up to his father? Yeah, that's a great character moment. That proves that he's trying to grow as a person. But that doesn't redeem him for exposing the mermaid secret. It doesn't redeem him that he tells Dr. Denham about Mako Island. It doesn't redeem him when he cheated on Ricky by kissing Miriam. Despite how you want to put it, despite how you want to word it, Zane had no reason to kiss Miriam just to get a locket. He basically physically cheated on her by kissing his literal girl, ex non-girlfriend, on the lips in front of his girlfriend, even though he didn't know she was there. And he literally, his response was that, he was being stupid. He shouldn't have trusted her. I'm sorry, I just thought, like, if I gave her neck and stuff like that, like, all of those things are excuses because he could have said, no, I'm not going to kiss you. Just give me back the locket. That would help redeem him more. The show's chance in redeeming him ends up with him showing some type of growth only for him to make another mistake or do something that's bad that is overlooked in the fandom, and as a result Zane is branded as changed, when in reality, has he actually changed? I will give him his props here. He stood up to his dad. He chose Ricky over Miriam. He saved their life. That is fine. That is dandy. I get it. He also have daddy issues. A lot of you will feel sorry for him. To be fair, I think the overhypeness of if a child does not have their father there is so overly done nowadays, because it seems like it's an excuse for society to just say that if a parent abandons their child, that child should just be treated as this tragic character, even though they do terrible bad shit. Look at Cassidy Howard from Euphoria. Look at Robbie Keane from Cobra Kai. A lot of people were hitting on Johnny for not being there for him. But at the same time, his mother was on drugs, constantly bringing these strange random men around. And as a result, abandoning him months on end to take trips, leaving him home alone. But because she was the parent that stayed, because she raised him by herself, and because Johnny wasn't there, they support her more than he did. And I understand this was around a time where the toxicity in feminism was going on, and there was a lot of toxic feminist people amongst all the good feminist people trying to brand this narrative that men were all trash and women were not. That you couldn't talk bad about a woman without getting any pushback. Hell, I even at one fucking point got called a fucking feminist, and it pissed me the fuck off. I got accused of a lot of things on YouTube, all because I had a certain opinion, because so many fucking people were toxic masculine men and toxic fucking feminist women all over fucking internet. So this ain't my first rodeo with that bullshit. So when it comes to Zane, looking at his issues with his father, it still does not justify his behaviors, because Zane is displaying behaviors that don't affect his father. They affect him. They affect his relationships. They affect his relationships with his friends, his family, his fucking future relationships with whoever he marries, and his kids. Not only that, but it affects him like life wise. And by the time that we get to season 2, he is the same way. Yes, he seems like he's changed. He's been fully redeemed. But then he does things like when Ricky is denying to get back together with him at first because she's not sure if she wants to be, even though she does still love him, he decides to fake getting hurt in a motocross accident and nearly scares her half to death. And then the next time we see him, he was completely innocent in that. He was the good guy in the whole story. Fine and dandy. I'll give his flowers with that one. But then in the next episode, he finds this ambergris, which is made from whale droppings, basically whale shit, and ends up wanting to use it against the girls, even trying to get Lewis to come in and use it against Leo to try her to be infatuated over him without her having the decision to make that choice herself. And throughout that whole episode, he feels no guilt. He still wants to use it until Lewis has that emotional speech. And I said that Lewis was wrong in episode 2 for not saying anything to the girls and warning them that Zane was doing this. But like, it seems like that also got pushed on the rug by the fandom, and it seemed like that wasn't a huge issue, that Zane would create some form of essay against the girls and it not be an issue with anybody. Even if we're not kids anymore, we're all adults. We all at one point should have recognized that this was wrong. Because a lot of us have seen this show as middle school and high schoolers. So we then had enough mindsets to know that this was wrong. But then the next time we see him, Dan is completely a good guy again. So we have 2 episodes where he does things in it, whether or not they're a big enough deal to anyone in the fandom, that are not treated as serious or problematic, while at the same time they give him like 2 or 3 episodes where he's a nice guy. But it's like once you get to like episode 15, you realize he was willing to commit essay against the girls. At that point, can you really say he has been redeemed? Because once you get to that point, that is a point of no return. I'm not saying that you can't find God and get forgiven, because everybody deserves a second chance, even if you do something like that that's horrible. But at the same time, to like not take that seriously and it being an episode where it's supposed to be funny, it's like, at what point do you say that can Zane truly be redeemed? And did season 3 actually ruin his character? Or did season 3 show that Zane is still the same person? He just only does good things when it actually suits him or affects him if he doesn't. Because he's trying to be a good guy, but at the same time not fully changing. So in his character development, I don't feel like there's enough of that. Now his personality went from him being an obnoxious, ignorant, egotistical asshole throughout season 1, and that ended by season 1. So personality wise, yes, that did change. There was some growth in that. It took a long time, but we eventually did get that growth, and he stopped acting like this, and he started to like cool down and mellow out once he ended up with Ricky. Now, does he have a story outside of Ricky, outside of his father, and outside of Miriam? The only story that Zane would have outside of all of them would being a bully looking for redemption. You know, because he's trying to redeem himself in Ricky's eyes. He's trying to change and not fall back into Miriam's arms, and he's not wanting to be like his father. So I would say yes and no. He has um have a storyline without them, because at the same time he was the first villain of the show. So he did have his own storyline. Now, let's move on into like his behaviors of acting out when he doesn't get his way, criticizing people, judging them, pulling pranks on them, doing things to them that are awful, refusing to take accountability. He basically is like a carbon copy of his father, but younger. Throughout season one, and then he stops a little bit, at a time when he's dating Ricky, until like season one, he completely stops. Now, because he's not in season two enough, we don't know if he completely stopped. So we cannot say that season two proves he has become a different person, like literally behavior wise. Now let's think about his relationships. His relationship with his father is obviously toxic, and the rushed redemption of his father does not do Zane's relationships any justice. Then we have Miriam. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Miriam and Zane were dating. They were together. They were a relationship couple. There is no way that someone is just going to have a girl constantly around him, kissing on her, buying her expensive clothes and jewelry, like literally having her on his fucking arm and talking about how they're not together. Okay, so what if he's not, you know, spending the night with her? He ain't got to do all that for it to be considered a non-relationship, baby. He's not a fuck boy. He is literally only with this one person. We don't see him with nobody else. So clearly they were together. Why they try to push this narrative that they were never together and he was just using her is a load of baloney, okay? Because the screens do not prove this. We do not see him with no other females but her. Like, ain't nobody finna keep holding that girl around him all the time for no fucking reason, but just to make himself look good. That's crazy. That's a waste of time. And only one person? Like, if he was really getting women like that, his ass would have been with multiple people, not just that one person. And he was only with two people this season, and that was Ricky and Miriam. That's it. So, I don't care what nobody says. Zane technically led Miriam on, and he's wrong for that. But if they were together and he was trying to save face by saying they wasn't together, he cheated on her. So that relationship was very toxic because they both were like cheaters. They were cheating on each other. They were talking to other people. They was like bringing the worst out of each other. Now Ricky and Zane, obviously, like I said, they kind of in a way trauma bonded, and they were trying to bring the good out of each other, but at the same time they brought out issues for one another by Ricky having to keep secrets, and Zane like literally still dealing with this whole trauma thing with the mermaid, and him and his father being at odds. So to be fair, in his relationship, Zane does not have what I would call a healthy, stable type relationship that is built on mutual love and respect in season one. Now, in season two, yes, he does. So they did, by season two, take the toxic behaviors out of Ricky and Zane's relationship, and they brought the best out of each other by season two. Even though I cannot stand episode 15 because of what he did, I can say that he does generally love him. Him and Ricky generally love each other, and they're not together because of trauma reasons. So let's talk about the last thing. Does his style reflect his character? We see Zane mostly in like red and black. And I know that the YouTube channel H2O Just Had Water did a Y2K clothing style of the girls. That video only contained Cleo, Emma, Ricky, and Bella. And when I do their videos, I will link that video down in the description. But since Zayn and them was not in there, I'm going to try to remember all their colors. So he wore red and black, like I said. But he also wore white sometimes. When obviously he's wearing black, he is closed off, he is cold hearted. When he's wearing red, he is either angry, passionate, confident, or like literally in his element. He's more human in a way. But when it comes to when he's wearing white and stuff like that, or he's like calm and pleasant, you know? But most of his clothing style is red and black. And he always wears a red t-shirt with a black shirt treated as like an over jacket with long blue jean pants. And that's it. That's just his whole entire look. His whole entire color palette. So does it reflect his character? Absolutely. Now, he still uses the same colors in season 2, except he's more not closed off when he's wearing black. He's actually like more grounded, and when he's wearing red, he is wearing it when he's just being himself. But when he wears them both together, he's like season 1 Zane, basically. But other than that, that's all I have. So, what is the reason? After looking through all of this, I just feel that the reason why I can't fully like Zane and why I still hate him and only love certain things that he's done in the first 2 seasons is because they have not actually redeemed him. They have not actually changed him completely enough to prove that he is not who he was when he first started. I know they attempted to do that, but him constantly doing the same things that he used to do before and display those same toxic behaviors shows that he is not fully grown. And that's understandable. Realistically, that wouldn't happen in real life. That type of thing takes time. But at the same time, if you're going to give a character a redemption arc by your 10th episode, literally damn near halfway into the first season, you better at least do it the right way. But I just feel like that did not happen. I feel like the first season he was just all around in toxic relationships and they didn't really give him anything healthy to work with, and that's not a good thing. And on top of that, they did change that by season 2 with his relationships and showing that he had truly changed. I did forget an episode. He was in episode 11 as well. And he was very pleasant in that episode and he was not his old self. So that's all I got for you guys today. I just wish they had done better with Zayn the first 2 seasons to make me like literally agree with what people are saying about season 3, but I just can't because that's not what's happening. But that's all I got for you guys today. I will see you guys in the next video. So I hope you have a blessed day. Hope you have a wonderful day. And if no one saw you today, I'm telling you, I love you. And I shall see you in the next video. Bye, guys.